So I guess I'll enjoy some coffee until then. Maybe. Let me just take a peek at the Twitch support Twitter account and see if there's anything going on. Twitch support. Okay, looks like. Looks like a few days ago they had some issues with users going live, but they said they got that resolved. So let me see if that's okay. Okay, so Javier and Adolin7 saying that it is in fact streaming. I'm going to click refresh on my dashboard and see if I can actually see the little preview come back. Yeah, there it is. Okay, sorry folks. Don't know what that was all about, but I seem to be back. And I seem to have a crap ton of viewers, which doesn't seem right, but so Twitch might be having issues. Okay, so I was just going over the changes to translation work. I will be updating the example mod page with these new properties. Yeah, so if you want to know kind of what to do, you can go to this English language pack. You can click, and this README text here kind of goes over the properties of this localized string object in case you want to have any further details. Cool. Photomolampids is kind of confirming I'm back live. Yeah, so that's that. You can check out that. Also, let's look at the gun stuff because that's fun, right? We do just I don't think I've checked any changes in on that since then, but let's take a peek. So real quick, let me make sure I have it actually installed. So let's go to my example mod, and let's go to my Delver directory. So right now, in order to install mods into Delver, you have to create a mods folder that is parallel to your Delver binary. But in the future, with the Steam Workshop, it will just once you subscribe to content, it will automatically download it and install it for you, so you won't have to manually manage that anymore, which will be really really nice. So I'll just copy this mod into the directory, and then let's launch DelvEdit, and then I have my little gun range that I can goof around in. Okay. So we'll go File, Open, Mods, Item Guns, Levels, Shooting Range. Cool. So now there were 2 guns in it. Now there's a total of 6. And there is a shotgun, which is not new. There is the double barrel shotgun, which has a wider spread and does 3 times the damage. And that's just lifted straight out of Doom 2. I believe that's how the shotgun versus double barrel shotgun scaled in Doom 2. This is what I call the cannon. So this has actually, I try to make this progression interesting, even though it's an example mod. So this has like a moderate amount of spread. This one has a moderate amount of spread in the y-axis, but more spread in the x-axis. And this one has the least amount of spread. But it really chews through ammo. Basically, this consumes 1 ammo per shot, 2 ammo per shot, and 4 ammo per shot, which is a new property that the guns now exhibit. And here's the revolver. This is kind of the it's kind of a nail driver. It does decent. It can kill most things in one shot. Usually, not all the time, but usually. It's semi-auto, so as fast as you can squeeze a trigger, it will shoot. Here's a machine gun. It shoots automatic auto-fire. And then at the very end is the silly triple machine gun that I kind of lifted from Nuclear Throne. It has a very high rate of fire, and it shoots 3 bullets at a time, so it really chews through ammo before you know what's happening. So if I just let's preview the shotguns and go back over to the bullet-based weapons real quick. Hey, Hawaii Beach. So play, and we grab the shotgun and some shells. I can, with the shotgun, there's as long as you get a good clean hit, it should bring down an enemy in a single shot. But if you just wing them, it won't. And of course, I put all these breakables in here so I can blast them. And also, the guns now will honor their cycle time, so you can't attack any faster than this cycle time defined. So this works both for the auto property and for the semi-auto or the manual fire property. And then, of course, the double barrel, not terribly different, but it uses twice the ammo, does 3 times the damage, a lot more spread, and it's definitely slower. And then you have the cannon. I couldn't come up with a good name for it. Basically, it's a totally fictional weapon. So basically, the first two of both the shell and bullet weapons are real weapons, and the third one's just a crazy thing. So this has a very slow rate of fire, but it shoots 16 bullets and consumes 4 shells per shot, and it's pretty tight. And then on the bullet side of things, you know, you have the revolver. You grab some bullets. Pew, pew, pew. And this is pretty quick, but you have to, you know, it is a semi-auto, so you have to click as fast as you can, you know, which is okay. And then you have the machine gun. You know, which is just a. It's not super fast, but it is a decently fast rate of fire, and it puts out, you know. It's not bad. It's not super awesome, but it's not terrible either. It's a decent little just get the job done kind of weapon. And then the triple machine gun is crazy because it has the highest rate of fire, and it shoots out the most bullets. It's basically like an auto shotgun, really, which is a lot of fun to use. But you know, you burn through ammo so fast. It's crazy. Yeah. So that was like over 100 bullets, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this is the example gun mod. This is probably all the work I'll be doing on it. I think I will upload this to the workshop so you folks can play around with this. This is also out on the example mod repo, which you are welcome to fork and play around with. It's there as a learning resource, so go crazy with it. I think now I'm going to transition into the sci-fi dungeon stuff. I really need to get this. I need to kind of maybe figure out where the end of this looks like, because I've been working on it a long time. So I think today I probably ought to. It's not even playable, so let's make it playable. Let's see if I can get blocked out some just basic rooms. So let me delete the gun mod, and then let me go ahead and go to my example repo, go to the dungeon section advanced, and then let me just pull in dungeon section advanced. Okay. Easy file open, mods, levels. Oh yeah, and I guess I did add this this catwalk model the last stream. So let me go ahead and let me just define a prefab for that so I don't forget about it. So let me just grab this, right click to JSON. I've also changed this now too, so when you do a to.json, it will actually emit standard JSON. Before it was emitting a minified form of JSON that is specific to libgdx. So there we go. Now I can go to my dungeon section advanced, data, entities. These are my example meshes. And then I can just throw the catwalk in here somewhere. Maybe before all these greebles, because greebles are getting kind of out of control. So let me do. Actually, let me go ahead and pull up in a JSON validator, and I'll paste in that code, and I will pretty it up and copy it. I'm going to go here and just paste it in there. And we'll call this catwalk. Cool. Let's just let me copy that over, and let's verify this actually works. Yep. Let's relaunch our editor. And if we go right click, example meshes, catwalk. Cool, and that does indeed what we want it to do. We actually might be able to even use this like as other like architectural elements too, because it is kind of generically sci-fi. So like I might be able to just like do weird things like stack them. I don't know why, but like I might be able to get more use out of them than I originally thought. And that's kind of cool. You know, or somebody suggested flipping them and sticking them to the ceiling. So just trying to be creative with some of these props. I wanted to make a bigger prop to kind of help break up the space, but I don't know. Like I need to just go ahead and start making actual generator pieces so we can play through this. So let's open this up, and we're going to go to our generator and example and beginnings and one.dat. And I think I actually have been working on this one a bit. Go ahead and play. There's some of the textures need fixing, but yeah, I think it's going okay. Alrighty. So let me just go ahead and flip over to floor. I don't want to paint adjacent, so let me undo that. Doesn't seem to be undoing it, so let's reopen it real quick. Load. This is the start. Yeah, so pick that, turn off paint adjacent, pick the floor text as just the normal floor texture. Let me just go ahead and just paint in this floor here. Oh, I did not want to paint over the sci-fi stuff we've done here. So let me do that. Pick the texture there, and not tempo, Josh. What are you doing? Yeah, that's for floor texture, and then just paint that in there. And grab those textures and paint them in over here. I can't remember if I put anything on the ceiling over here or not. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Cool. I do have the caution stuff here, so I can start using that. I probably don't need these. I'm just gonna start cleaning up this area a little bit and make it look a little bit nicer, I suppose. So I want the ceiling to be that, and the floor to be the intersection thing here. And I'm just going to kind of do that with it. It might be okay if that's a lower ceiling. I don't know. I'm just gonna play around until I find something I like. I need to flip these floor textures. That should be fine. Might be overusing these railing objects. Not quite sure. Just because I have them doesn't mean I should use them, so let me just go ahead and clean them up for the time being. Maybe it makes sense to kind of rail off that side there, but just like throwing them everywhere because we can isn't super interesting. Okay. In fact, maybe I can grab that there and just make this all computer stuff. There we go. And again, I kind of want to have the this feeling of the computers kind of just slowly creeping into everything here. In fact, maybe this is like a little raised thing you have to kind of step up over. I'm just playing with forms, trying to make it looking interesting. Also, I'm going to rotate the floor tile here till that kind of matches, kind of makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of works. There we go. So Michael says, Joshua is now playing Delver. Time to check Twitch. Oh yeah, I guess that is true. With some of the workshop work we've been doing, we have like a better, like proper Steam API integration. So whenever I'm in Delve Edit, I'm actually playing Delver now, which is cool. Which is why I think it tipped him off that I was streaming. Also, if like, I try to be good about letting folks know when I stream. So I will like use social media to kind of put it out there. So if you follow me here on Twitch or on Twitter, or if you follow the Delver Facebook page, that's where you can find that information. There we go. Interesting, I didn't continue the, just thinking out loud. Okay, so here I guess I goofed and I wanted to have select these three again. In the ceiling, I wanted to have these lights. There we go. And I have the generator set up such that it will actually those are okay. Let me. But the generator will plop down lights on top of these textures, so that it's kind of like a little time saver. Because sometimes manually placing all these entities is kind of laborious, and it's the engine can do some of the heavy lifting for us, so might as well let it do it. Unfortunately, it doesn't it doesn't work in play mode in the editor. Cool. Yeah, so this is a prefab, and these lamps, they have a 25% chance of being turned off, but for the most part they are. They're usually on, but you can't always depend on that. Maybe I should make this a. Let's say the ceiling is a light, and then the upper wall is some kind of tiled texture. Yeah, that looks cool, I think, right? I can do the same thing over here, just shift enter. There we go. A lot of times I like to start off by introducing symmetry and then going back through later and breaking it up. Okay. Tengu Knight 42 says, hello, this finally works. What are you working on? Seems interesting. Yeah, so I'm working on my video game Delver, and this is an example mod for the upcoming update. So we are in early access on Steam, and we are working. Like we're trying to stay at a good, like every 3 months release an update kind of release cadence. There we go. And I know we've tried to be good about it, but we haven't been perfect. I've been trying to do more project management. That must be some sort of hard coded thing where it flips to a particular texture to show the stair up. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, here since folks might not know, let me go ahead and let's file save our work. And then let's play some actual Delver proper for the people who are new. So I'm just going to move this mod out of here because I want to play vanilla Delver. And let's play some Delver. So Delver is a fantasy dungeon crawler with roguelike and RPG elements. I am Joshua. I am one half of the Delver team. There are 2 of us working on it. Yeah, so this is a passion project. We work on this in our free time as we have time. We both have, so this is not our full-time job, to put it that way. But I'm grateful for the time I have to work on this. So this is the start area. This is the camp. It serves as a store. There's some tutorialized stuff in notes, which kind of works okay. Let me think. And this is the dungeon. So this is where all the action takes place. So let's go down to the dungeon. Okay. Again, so this is procedurally generated. So so the rooms the dungeon levels are different every time you play. The dungeon levels are a mix of hand-built and procedurally built rooms that we put together like a jigsaw puzzle. This is the first area. This is the dungeon. It is the most, I guess, let me blast him with my missile wand here, and I guess this is the one that kind of calls back to the fantasy tropes the most, right? This is just a stereotypical dungeon with little, folks in it for you to fight. Oh, that almost tricked me. Can I think there's some junk back here somewhere. Oh, okay. There we go. Ooh, a bow and a lantern. Let me go ahead and put that in my left hand. There we go. A little bit more light. Okay. Typically I don't break crates, but I'm kind of hard up for a new weapon, so let me see if I can get anything. Yeah, the crates have a pretty low drop chance. Ooh, that's an excellent composite bow. Wow, look at that. That is really good. Now I just need to find some arrows for it. Ooh, there is a weapon right there for me too. So things are working out. Let me. I'll keep the dagger just in case I need to break open doors or more crates. I can just use my dagger because items do have durability, and they will break. I'm trying to. Oh, it teleported. Okay. All right, let's get my dagger. Okay, reset. There we go. Oh, and arrows. Perfect. Nice. This is going to be an okay little run then. There we go. So the composite bow has kind of short range, but it has the highest amount of knockback of any of the ranged weapons. Steel mace, is that better or worse than? And eventually with the durability stuff, I want to, right now everything has the same amount of durability. So I want to differentiate that, and I think steel should have the best durability of all the items. I think iron should have the worst, and I'm thinking like the engraved or the gilded stuff probably has like a middling amount of durability. Edelin says, I love this art style of game. A lot has changed since I bought and played it. Thank you. Yeah, cool. So yeah, I'm the art guy, so all the 2D, 3D art is me. And I'm glad you like the look of it. And we know we try to add as much as we can, but we don't have a lot of time to work on the project, so we have to be we have to be really picky and choosy about what we do end up working on. I don't need to keep that dagger anymore. Let me just swap it out for that mace. These are good pants, right? I don't have any pants. I thought you started with pants. Did we change that? Ooh, somebody got stabbed. Crap. Okay. And the missile wand doesn't do a lot of damage. I think it does like 1 to 2. It has a pretty high shot count and it has a pretty high rate of fire. And you can actually use it to shoot out magic out of the sky. So with that guy, I was trying to line it up such that if he did shoot again, that there's a good chance that I would actually deflect his attack with my magic. Okay, let's use our break down things item to break down things. Cool. We're just kind of running right through. And these have a very low drop chance. Okay, let's look at more arrows are fine. Yeah, generally the gold is something we've been kind of working on for a while, and it's kind of meant to give like a little bit of like something carries through between runs, and we want to figure out a way to make it so it's not grindy. Because like for example, some games like Rogue Legacy, I'm sure if you're really good, you could probably beat it, but if you just have that urge to like just grind it out and just slowly make your player better instead of learning how to play interestingly. So we're trying to avoid that, and I have a few ideas of what I want to kind of do with that. But more arrows are always helpful. I think I'll play through this next level of the caves, and then I'll get back to work on the science fiction dungeon stuff. So Edelin said they picked it up during the winter sale. They actually discovered it on the queue. That's really cool. Yeah. No, thank you. I really, really appreciate that. That directly supports my efforts in trying to do more game development. Because again, I do this like not full time, and I would like to do it full time if possible. So your support means the world to me. Yeah, no, Tengu Knight says they love the art style a lot. Reminds them of Ultima Underworld. Definitely. Like the games from that era are what we grew up on. Like Ultima Underworld, Daggerfall, Doom, Heretic. These are all the games that really influence kind of what I think of is really cool and what I kind of try to put into Delver. Cryoc 93 says, "Hi, I wanted to ask many times, but haven't found any time for looking by. Do I develop the game alone?" No, there are 2 of us. My name is Joshua. Hi, I'm the art guy. I do 2D, 3D art, level design. I also do community management. I do dev streams. I do project management. I guess the thing I'm trying to push there is because there's only a couple of us, we wear lots of hats and we do lots of roles. The other person is named Chad, and he's the original creator of Delver. He is the main programmer. I do a little programming here and there, but he's done the lion's share of the programming. He does a lot of the design. He's done some level design as well. He does all the business side of things. Yeah, and Chad and I actually are. So I guess since we have some new folks here, I'll keep playing and I'll tell the story of Delver, even though I've told it a lot. But we actually didn't know each other before starting this project. I found a very early alpha version of this on the TigSource forums, and I noticed that he was posting Java jar files. Cool, that'll help me out. Um, and because I'm an engineer, I know that jar files are basically zip files. So I extracted the contents, and I was looking through the contents of the jar file, and I noticed that the textures were just ping images. And I decided to start replacing the art and packing it back in the jar and running it. And I kind of showed back on the forum like the stuff I was doing. And Chad really liked the art changes I was making. So I think around that time, ooh, oh, -6 attack? Yikes. Does it just totally negate it? Man. It might be better than my dagger, I'm not sure. But he put Delver up on the Android Play Store in a very, very early version. And he made enough money off of the Android version of Delver to bring me on as a contract worker to replace a good chunk of basically all the art. And around that time was when Steam announced their Greenlight program. And if you remember the very first implementation of the Greenlight program, there was no $99 fee. It was free, and you could put up your game. The problem with that is one of our fans put up the game, and it was underneath his account, so we had to contact Valve, and we had to have them remove Delver from Greenlight. And then in order to prevent that from happening again, we put it up on Greenlight to kind of be like a placeholder so that it just wouldn't happen. And it just sat out there for a year, and then we got greenlit in the first batch of the 100 games they greenlit. And it was really cool, but it was also kind of really like a wake-up call, because up until that time it had been like a fun hobby project. And then it kind of became, like overnight, it became like a second job. Which is cool. It just changes kind of the relationship you have with a project once people pay you for it. Like expectations have to be managed and all that good stuff. And then there's also around the time I finished up replacing the art, which this is the new art style. The old art style was a little bit more, way more retro. I don't have one of those yet. I'll pick one and look that up. But around that time is when I got pulled on as a partner on the project, which is really cool. I just did a big circle, didn't I? Let's go that way. So yeah, and that kind of catches things up a little bit. We've been on Greenlight for 3 years now. We've been on Greenlight a while, and that's kind of been like a learning learning lessons the hard way, because again, Chad and I both by trade are engineers. I just happen to really enjoy doing art, and it was easy for me to, after a day at work, come home in the evenings and make art because it was a different side of my brain I was exercising. But learn this. I guess I didn't realize how big of a job or how important talking to the community and telling them what our roadmap was until last year. My son was born, but the time leading up to that, basically I was working at Microsoft, and my day job was very stressful. And my wife she was pregnant and she needed a lot of support, and I wanted to be there for her, so I had to put Delver on the back burner. And that was basically for most of a year I didn't work on Delver, and I appreciate the fact that Chad was very supportive of me, but we didn't let the community know, so they thought the project was dead. Which, I mean, to be fair, a year without an update is kind of a bad sign. But the project was not dead, and to kind of, I guess, be better about communicating and kind of working with the players, I started streaming my development, and I started last July, and I've been streaming every Sunday since. And sometimes if I have extra time, I will stream extra. And if you look down on my Twitch page, you can find the archive link to the YouTube channel where these are all get put into one big playlist. So if you want to look at the old stuff, it's there, which is cool. I know some folks only watch it on YouTube, so that's also cool. Hey, YouTube folks. So yeah, that's kind of the journey that we've gone on through Delver. You know, we've had really awesome opportunities because of it. Like being on Steam is a wonderful and crazy thing, and just the outpouring of like love by the community is amazing. We never expected, like when you make something, you never expect anybody to really like it or get it. But there's been a really good folks have responded very well to this, and like whenever people make like fan art or mods for this, it just like my heart explodes. It's just so cool seeing the crazy stuff people make. And I mean, that's why I'm really pushing hard to make it easier for folks to share that stuff. Stupid bat. This way? I'm getting turned around. No, this way. Sometimes the... Whoa! Okay, run. Generally, if you're fast enough, you can jump over, run over those, but that's not the case. So the potions, you don't really know what they are until you drink them. That was a magic shield, which is not really helping me out very much. Let me try that one. So I drank another potion poison. Great. So I'm just going to eat some food, which will give me just healing over time. So it'll kind of negate the effects. I can just kind of sit tight until... you know, I have arrows. Just why not use them? And then you can trip that. Oh, I threw it too far. Oh, you step on it. No, you step on the chair. You can climb over it. Jerk. I'll climb over it. No, I can't climb over it. I have to trip it. Man. Okay. And all my debuffs and buffs are done, so that's nice. Oh yeah, and chat has been chatting, so let me take a look at that. Sorry folks, I'd like the older I get, the more I find myself just kind of like rambling. So if I'm doing that and it's obnoxious, just let me know. Cool. So yeah, it looks like some folks here have been actually been with us since the Android version. That's also really cool. That's supported us for a very long time. Tengu Knight says, "Are you ever going to add an overworld?" No, the engine really can't support a very large overworld, and it's just never been really on our radar. I know some modders are like really pushing to try to make one, and like I'm curious to see what they come up with. But we're trying to keep Delver a fairly small in scope project so we can actually finish it and finish it well. Like I don't want to bite off. Like I already feel like we've already bitten off more than we can chew with what the project is, and we're just trying to make it as good as we can. So Crowdtech says, is something like an editor planet for bringing your maps, something like non-hard game mode. So yeah, so you're like if you bought Delver on Steam, you already have the editor. So if you open up Steam and you go to your library and you go to Delver, if you right-click and you go to Properties and you browse your local files, this delvedit.jar is the editor that I'm using to make the levels in the game. And with the new update coming out in March, we have a really nice way of actually allowing us to smash all the new level content together. So if you look at, let me pull open. I have a repo here. You can take a look at. So on GitHub.com/Joshua Skelly /Delver-example-mods, this dungeon section basic right here. This is, you can use it as a kind of like a blueprint to start making your own new level. And that's what the sci-fi thing is. It's going to be this crazy science fiction dungeon area that you can just slot into Delver. It doesn't actually, like, it's not part of Delver's story. It's just something fun and to show people what they can kind of do with the editor. So Edlin says, so many items haven't played since 2014. Just reinstalled. Check out the new loots. Cool. Yeah. Thanks for coming back to us. It's yeah, we since 2014 we probably put out 3 updates maybe. I know we did one in let me think, December, and then before that was September, and before that was September of 2015. Um, cool. Javier says, Joshua, I just found out there is no iron short sword. It goes from dagger to... I probably messed that up. Oh, hey, Chad. Cuttigan is the other developer of Delver. He is the lead slash primary slash like 99% engineer and business guy and designer and all that jazz. I think the crazy like he basically this is an engine he's written himself, which is just totally crazy. So Javier is saying I think I goofed on the item. So let me check. He says like I goofed up on the translated strings for iron sword. No iron short sword. So let's look at a couple things. So let's look at the items.dat. So items.dat, this data file defines all the things that can be dropped by the loot generator. And if we look for, here's an iron dagger, here's an iron sword. Yeah, I think that just might be by design. But that seems weird because I certainly have a graphic for it. We may have pushed them into different. Let me take a look. So if we look at, come on, Photoshop, the file open, and we look at melee.ping. Here are all the melee items, and there should be a dagger, a sword, and a long sword. So if we look, melee 1 has the dagger. Let's just look at, and that is texture 8. Does that make sense? So that's 0 through 7, 8. So this should be 16 and 24. So let's look for text 8. So that's the sword. Let's see, wait. So this is the iron dagger. And then text 16 should be, it's not there. Weird. So yeah, Javier is definitely confirming that it's not in there. Huh. It's okay. So this, yeah, it goes weird. Okay, I guess I didn't know that. Let me see. Go back to the chat. Yeah. So again, Javier, thank you for catching that. We should probably put it in there. Cosfallen says, a new listener, they love the rambling. Okay. I'm glad my old man rambling is okay for some folks. Tengu Knight says, are you going to tweak the degradation in the next update? Most definitely. Like I was talking about, I think the iron items should have the smallest amount of durability, so I think it's probably okay where it's at. I think the steel should have the highest amount of durability. I think, and then the enchanted and the engraved should kind of fall somewhere in between there, and the gilded. Because I really want the steel weapons to kind of be the workhorses, but the higher damage ones are a little bit more fragile, but they do more damage. Cryok93 says, with the level editor, does this mean you can do something like respawn? So no, so definitely Delver is a permadeath game. I think that's really where a lot of the interest comes, because as we generate a new like a whole new world for you to play with. So I think that's the interesting thing, is learning all the systems and how kind of things interact. Yeah, so I think with the current version of the durability system, a weapon will break if you hit something 30 times. which is why you shouldn't be just willy-nilly opening crates and hitting walls because that degrades your weapon. I think some folks have brought up a good point where we probably ought to communicate how much durability is left on the item, because right now you can only tell by looking at the text. Cool. Adolin says, love those melee items. Cool, thank you. Thingonite says, where are the axes? Yeah, I mean, everybody has their favorite weapon, right? People ask about axes, people ask about crossbows, people ask about pole arms. And to be honest, like, if you think about it, really, there's a stray pixel there. Like the difference between axes and maces is I mean, I can make one, and it just seems kind of, I mean, I will probably add them. I want to do a content bump for the final release. I think axes make sense. They'll probably be a high damage, slow swing, lower knockback than maces kind of weapon. Pole arms, I don't necessarily know, but that's why we're also, you know, we're opening up Delver to the modders, and you can make all kinds of crazy weapons with the mod stuff. Again, if you look at my example repo, you can see how items are made. Cool. So let's get back to level editing for this silly sci-fi dungeon that I've spent way too much time on and need to finish. At this point in time, we're trying to really minimize the amount of code changes. So flails, probably no. You know, like we've been working on this game like going on 4 or 5 years, and we would really like to just like get it done. Like we we can't. It's not going to be a kitchen sink. You know, RPG. It's not going to have everything everybody wants, but hopefully we can get a lot of the interesting things. And of course, with modding, people can throw in whatever they want. Okay, so this is what I was working on. There might not be a lot of lights, but it's probably okay. Let me just see what this looks like in Engine real quick. Cool. So basically now with a new way of defining dungeon sections is you have a section.dat, and this just defines the difficulty level. It defines the sort order. The sort order basically tells the engine where this should fall. So sort order 1 means it will be put in right after the dungeon area in Delver. And then you give it a name. You can specify how many floors the thing is too. Right now, most sections in Delver, or actually all the sections in Delver, are 2 floors. These are the templates you can use to create those floors. And then you know you can specify traps at a per section area too. Then if I launch, wait, so let's close out this. I meant to close this out. Let's stop that and let's launch the desktop executable, and then if we just start a new game, and if I drop down, you should see Dungeon 1, Dungeon 2. This is the interstitial level with the shopkeeper. I think we should get a sci-fi example. Here we are. So these lights are doing their job. I think there's a flickering lamp right here that just, yeah, it makes it a little weird. That's nice. So it's still pretty dark, and it feels pretty wide open too. So I mean, I guess it's okay. It's different. And then we also have some of these like these little tiles are being picked at random to put these gray ones in with the black tiles, which I think helps break up some of the repetition. We also have rules for how to do that along the walls as well. Like it randomly puts in these grates, which is cool. That's. I guess I can greeble this stuff up, I suppose. I can also probably lower. I'm just trying to think of how to make this visually interesting. I'm also planning these areas to have these 3 wide kind of intersections and having a big cool door to slot in here, so having like a 3x2 door. So yeah, so let's just, yeah, see if you see basically, I've only ever really touched this first room, So as soon as we go into the dungeon, we get this is the template uh, the template dungeon section I was also talking about earlier in the stream, where it's just a very like bare bones kind of setup. So let's quit that. Okay, let's erase that. Let's quit that. So let me check. Let me think. Chat says, how do I open the gigantic door on the temple level? Or is the Easter egg or something unfinished? Yep, that is a secret. Let me think. Yeah, back to editing. Delve edit. Run. Open mods. Like it's hard to like when I'm creating a new area. Not this. I spend a lot of time trying to define the look and feel of it. And once that's kind of nailed down, then it's easier to generator to kind of knock them out. Like if you look at if you start back all the way back in July is when I started designing the new ruins areas. And for a while there, I was really kind of struggling trying to find a nice look and feel for it. And eventually, when I found my pace, like I started really like, kind of like plugging away at it and getting progress done. But it took me a while to get there. And let me just make the ceiling. There we go. Uh-oh. Let me undo that and then turn off paint adjacent. I always forget about that. Just kind of clean up these ceilings. Cool. And then I'll probably add these grates back in, but a little bit more sparingly. I'm just texturing everything here, just make sure the ceilings look cool. Okay, here, grab that texture. Ceiling, there we go. Grab that texture, ceiling, there we go. Again, when I first started off with this texture kit, it was all gray, and I think adding this dark these dark tiles really kind of helped add some nice contrast to the area, make it a little bit more visually appealing. There we go. Cool. So I think that's all the ceiling stuff. And then, like, where would vents make sense is the next question. So, oh, yeah, let me grab that. It's interesting. Why is it? The upper wall seems to not be picking up. If I change the floor, yeah, weird. So the upper wall should be that pattern. Huh. So it's a small bug. No big deal. And then the floor text needs to be, I don't know. Floor, it's fine. Okay. I want to get rid of that flickering light. It's bugging me. Like flickering lights were kind of a cool idea, but like prefab, example meshes, floor lamp. So this top prefab just is the one that has a chance of being either on or off, which is kind of cool. I mean, you can guarantee it always to be on or always to be off, but it's nice. It's just nice to add a little bit of variety that way. I think let me also here. Change this upper wall. We fix it as well. I'm going to add some of this new Greeble system stuff. So right click, prefab, Give myself more room. Right click. We need to do something about these menus getting so big. We need to make it scrollable, or we need to make it uh, something. So chat says, uh, talking about the secret door. Tinkernight says, by the way, why is choosing skills on a level random? I mean, I don't always get to choose health or magic. The mobile version, I could do that. Um, that's intentional. Because people would always choose the same stat over and over again, and that is not very interesting. And we've actually made changes too where um, since the last update, I haven't really publicized this very much, but the loot drop system is actually influenced by your stats. If you want to go a pure health build, that'll influence what gets dropped for you. We're trying to figure out, like, if there are dominant strategies that take the fun away from the game. We try to figure out ways to kind of nerf those a little bit, and that was one of those. This is just one of those random Greeble things. Yeah, take care. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'm trying to think. Should I stack these? What does it look like? Could be interesting. So these just pick random. They kind of have random configurations. They're kind of based on percentages. So what I'll do is something like, let me set this at a fairly high but not 100%, so 0.85. So there's an 85% chance that this thing will appear, and when it does appear, it will change the way it looks, which is cool. And just trying to get some more mileage out of just the kind of interesting, or the systems that we have in Delver. So I hit play. Yeah. Oh, they seem to be, they usually, huh. They always seem to be spawning. And that light might be way too bright. I might need to pull down the range on that a little bit. Whatevs. Tingu says, how about inventory space? Are you going to work on that? Why do you need more inventory space? That is my question. What are you trying to solve with that? Yeah, so we have, so with the Delver editor, we can define tiles. For example, like when you play the game, file, open recent. Like even like these tiles too, like this tile can also be this tile randomly. This tile can also be this tile randomly. We do it a lot more in the actual main game, so the tiles on the level geometry switch out. Also, we have the prefab system can kind of switch in and out too. So yeah, these are just we're just trying to build these little simple systems that we can get cool results from, you know. Get this sucker positioned correctly. There we go. Those great lights are kind of cool. I think there's too many Greebles on this here. Let me get rid of that one and that one. Yeah. Just kind of up, turn them, and then kind of snap them back here. Cool. False park locations. Hey Joshua, how's it going? What a different style level. Cool. Just little bits and bobs here and there. Tengu says, you take some inspiration from Ultimate Underworld. Did you take the eye from it too? What eye? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. Actually, I think these might look better just higher up. Let me just kind of pull all these up. And for some reason, even though I put it at an 85% chance of spawning, it seems like the prefab always spawns. What if I made, wait, what? I thought I set this to, okay, so how about a 0.1% chance of spawning? Huh. So Chad, it looks like the prefabs aren't honoring this spawn chance, which is interesting. Oh, the floating eye that shoots red magic. I don't know, like that's a pretty well established fantasy trope. Like the biggest I guess the biggest influence is definitely Dungeons and Dragons, but TSR has a copyright on the name Beholder, so that's why we call them eyes and not actually beholders, because that would be infringing on their property. Cool. So I think this is a cheap way to add just little detail bits here and there. It's definitely dark. Oh yeah, because these lights aren't on. Let me clean up this a little bit here. So make the floor texture, ceiling the ceiling texture. Let me just kind of, let's just slap that there, and then that there. Okay. Okay. False park location says, by the way, wanted to ask, why did you choose Java? That would be a Chad question, because he's the guy who initially created the engine and chose a language and stuff for it. Just kind of fixing these. I guess I lost my my upper trim texture there somehow when all this repainting occurred. It's kind of cool having the vents there though, like it's some sort of like decontamination area. That's cool. I'll leave that there. It'd also be interesting. Maybe I could have those the vents occasionally spawn like some sort of particles. Yeah, no, I was talking about the red eye enemy is it's definitely a nod towards like D&D and like traditional role-playing games. Okay, let's save that and let's I think this is an okay state. Let me just quickly check it out and then we'll move on to some more dungeon pieces so we actually have something that's interesting to play. So Chad says there's probably a serialization issue around prefabs and spawn chance. One of those things where fixing would break everything until resave. Yikes. Okay, well, no biggie. I just won't rely on it then. Nodri says, so the ceiling lights aren't always lights. Yeah, so actually that's an artifact of the system that spawns entities on top of tiles. Actually, only works in the game. So like here, the lights are spawning. It's just in the editor they don't. It's just one of those things. Like for example, like if you want to see like fog, you have to run it in the game. If you want to see your skybox, I'm pretty sure you have to run it in the game. Yeah, no, I like the greebles add just a little touch or something. Um, yeah, so let's get this stuff going. I'm trying to think, like this is a tri-intersection. Yeah, this definitely feels different than Delver, which is cool. Okay, quick. And then, so how dungeons are actually built is if you take a peek into this generator folder, you'll see there are I think 7 directories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So there are beginnings, there are corners, ends, halls, intersections, starts, tri-intersections. So what happens is I'll draw real quick. Is control in 128. 128 should be sufficient. So how we do our generation in Delver is more or less. It's not. This isn't exactly the thing we do, but we have this grid of roughly like 5 by 5 or whatever, and we pick a start spot, and then we just actually let me. I don't care Photoshop. Pick a start spot. And it wants to. Oh, Photoshop. Say here, and then what we do is we just we trace out a path through these grids, and we have to identify the tiles, right? So let's say that's so we have a start, we have an exit, and then we have these tiles where either they're a straight hallway, or they are a corner, they are a 3-way intersection, or potentially they can be a 4-way intersection. So if we had something like that, we'd have a 4-way intersection. And that's what those folders correspond to, are room pieces that fit that grid. Hey Chris, thanks for stopping by. Delver was really created to see how Notch created Minecraft felt during the 48 era. Interesting. Where'd you pull that from? Is it actually on our website? Chad could speak better. Oh, that's the community run wiki. Yeah, I can't verify the actual validity of that quote. Because yeah, we don't have any. Yeah. So yeah, so let's make. I think a hall, and a corner, and a 3-way intersection are probably the most common. So let me make a hall. Yeah, when we first started Delver, there weren't very many procedural first-person games on the scene at all. It wasn't until like a year or two later that Eldritch and Tower of Guns and all those folks started showing up. Okay, so for this hall, let me pick all my textures. Example, so gray, gray, dark gray, and I just want to fill that in and then carve that out. And I've been making all of the areas in this new, or all the or most of the stuff in this new area 2 tiles tall. So there we go. And that really is just the minimum we need, right? So let me just save it. File, save, file, open. And let's look at corners. 1.dat. And load. And again, we're just going to kind of just go through this corner and make sure that it just fits our theme, right? So, oop. That's weird. Sometimes you have to hit backspace and then enter to make it. Sometimes if it thinks the height should be something crazy because maybe there's stale data in that tile, it will set it to a crazy value. So just backspace and then enter will reset that data. Ooh, Chad's going into story time. Nice. It is. This is like an old man story time stream. So maybe when Chad's done, file save, file open. Maybe when Chad's done telling stories, I'll read it so the folks who are watching on the archive can have some context as to what that's all about. So we did beginnings, corners, halls, intersections. There we go. Okay, save, file, open. I think I skipped ends. Let me just open up ends real quick. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but let me just get it out there. There we go. File save. Actually, let me make sure to make the ceiling the correct height. File save, file open. Starts 1.dat, load. There we go. So there is a difference between a start and a beginning. A beginning is used only the very first time, or on the very first floor of a section. So if I were to make this example sci-fi dungeon section 2 floors, this would be the one that's used on the second floor. So if you want to do something special when your players enter your area for the first time, beginnings is the tile you want to kind of go crazy with. It can let you do a little bit of like storytelling, set piece, decoration stuff. Ooh, Chad submitted a PR to my example mods. So yeah, so again, kind of going back to that. So if we look at, I'll put a link out there. He must have done it. Yeah, he must have done it recently. Okay, so again, yep. Yeah, so github.com/ oh wait, that's, yeah, Chad's fork or mine. Yeah, so it serves as an example of the best practices, and also it's a community thing too. Like if you look, I'm trying to maintain a good list of contributors, and if there's things you want to see examples of, create an issue. Somebody created an issue requesting video tutorials. And I think I will do video tutorials kind of maybe later on, and I kind of directed them towards my stream for the time being. But yeah, no biggie. Yeah, Chad's is just a fork of my repo. But yeah, I'm trying to also keep some documentation up there too with READMEs, so kind of explaining how things are done. Try intersections. Did I do that already? Load. No. Yeah. So going back to I guess Chad's story. Let me see. Yeah, Chad says story time. So Notch did a live coding stream when making that prelude of the Chambered game, which was an old school raycast dungeon crawler. Um, Seeing this gave Chad the idea, or the itch, to make his own raycast engine. And this raycast engine eventually morphed into Delver. But Delver itself has not been a raycast engine for a very long time. Years later, Chad attempted to talk to Notch at a party to thank him, but the party was very loud, and Notch had no idea what Chad was saying, which is sad. Yep. So I'm thinking I will probably do video tutorials, and they will probably be really short and sweet. Most likely, they will be um, just the basics, like where to find Delve Edit, like getting around, and kind of like just how to get stuff done. And if you want like more long form stuff, feel free to look at my archive because I do lots of Delve editing on my archive. Now here's a little tip too. If you make a selection, see how these these two areas are of different heights. If you make a selection starting in the area with the height you want, when you hit enter to carve out the new area, the heights will match, which is cool. It can be useful for doing all sorts of things. So let's file save, file open, and that was try intersections, and I think that's it. So now if we launch Delver, we should have a fully sci-fi dungeon area. False Park location says, where can I see a roadmap for that thing? A roadmap for which thing? We have a Delver roadmap on the Steam forums. It's pinned at the top, and it's called Roadmap. I'm the one who is in charge of editing that. Cool. So this is our beginning area, which is sweet. And then, so here's the thing: is Delver slams these rooms together, and it doesn't really have like context. So I tell it, mash these rooms together and put a door in the middle. So it says, okay, I'll put a door in the middle. But if you don't build the door correctly, you get silly stuff like this. So just be aware. So what I'm going to have to do is when I make my slidey sci-fi doors, I'm going to have to make them big enough such that they fill the space. Yep, here we go. Which is why sometimes, even in Delver proper, you'll see areas with doors with wide open spaces above them. And this is kind of, it's within the two rooms that are joined together, don't have the same ceiling height. Or they have a ceiling height way higher than the door. Which isn't too bad. I mean, this is obviously silly. Like being able to walk around doors isn't terribly interesting. But this does give you kind of an example of how the areas are put together. Cool. Yeah, so just go to the Steam community, look at the discussions, and there's a roadmap for it. Basically, for this update, we're pushing for Steam Workshop support. We have it, and we're working on making it good, making some example mods for people to look at. That's going to land in March sometime, and then the next update is super tentatively scheduled for May, June. Again, the further out it is, the less sure we are about it. And for that one, I want to do a refresh of the dungeon area. If you play the game, you notice basically the deeper down you get, I think the quality of the levels increases. And that's just an artifact of us. We made the dungeon area first. So the tools were new to us, and we didn't have as many tools in our toolbox, and then as time goes on, like we've gotten better at using the editor, and we've gotten better at designing stuff to be used in conjunction with like these level sets. So I think like the ruins looks the best, and it's kind of like this weird like reverse quality thing. So I want to make sure that the dungeons are at a good high quality bar. Um, and then beyond that, I think full release isn't too far after that. I just want to do a content bump and just do a lot of stabilization stuff. Like we're not really looking to add big new features. We're looking at the features we have in place, and we're trying to make them as good as we can. Okay. I've been streaming about an hour and a half. Let me take a quick break. Let me grab a bite, and I'll be back very shortly. So let me just throw up my little thing. I can give myself, say, 5 minutes to eat. Hopefully that's not too long for you folks. All right, I am back. Yep, sorry. Yeah, Chris, it's not like that. I'm trying to cram like an entire lunchtime into 5 minutes, so it's more like watching Komodo dragons at the zoo, like tear apart a goat, than like a nice little nom nom nom. Um, I used to be, um, I don't know, I'm former military, so like basic training teaches you how to really wolf down food pretty quick. Okay, um, so real quick, we made some changes. Let's go ahead and commit these back to our branch in example mods. So I'm just going to copy this back out here. This is actually the repository that actually is under source control. And let me delete that. Yep. And then we look at my changes over here. Um, so changes, these are all, so I added the catwalk, which is cool. I changed these. These should really be .bin. I thought I fixed that, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm just being a dummy. But yeah, so the rooms can be saved as either .dat or .bin. .bin is a binary format, which is faster to load, and .dat is a JSON format, which is human editable in case you ever get like some kind of crazy entity that you can't select or find anymore. Well, let's just go ahead and say work on generator rooms. Commit and sync. Yeah, so if you're looking at the example repo, it is the featured / dungeon section advanced branch is where this science fiction stuff lives in. And actually, let's go ahead and just let's pull in Chad's changes. So let's just go over here. And again, if you folks want to submit pull requests against this repo, totally fine. If you think you have a cool example, or you want to fix something that I've goofed, or if you want to enhance documentation, just go ahead and there are contribution like steps here. But yeah, feel free to do it. I may tweak stuff, of course, but yeah, like this is meant to be a community resource for folks to learn from. So if we go up here at pull requests, there is one pull request that has been opened. Chad opened this up. So it says, guns don't need charge animations, and slow down the fire animation speed. That's cool. So let's take a look at he changed 2 files. So animations.dat, he slowed it down, which is, sure. It's probably just a feel thing. And then here he's saying that all these charge animations on the guns just aren't needed because I don't think guns aren't chargeable. So it's just a property we don't need to set. So yeah, these changes look perfectly fine. So let's just merge it. If I did have issues with the pull request, I would write comments and I would let the person who submitted the pull request address those before I committed it. For example, Javier, he and I went back and forth a little bit, trying to get his Spanish translation cleaned up a little bit. And nothing major, but you know, it was a pretty good collaboration. And actually, thinking of it, if you Javier, if you want to submit a PR for your more recent translation work using the new forms and forms property, please do. Cool, yeah. So let me just go ahead and merge that in. And that's awesome. Now go back to code. And if you look at the commits, this should just be me merging in, yep, Chad stuff, which is cool. And this, so this change also goes hand in hand with one in the Delver repo. So if I go over to Delver and crap, removed stray pixel. I think that's what I did. Commit, sync. You'll see his changes come in too. Yeah, so hit gun effect. He was tweaking some of the stuff for guns. So that's what his changes in the example mod repo were. We're, ooh. Cool. So, uh, guns have projectiles now. What's this all about, Chad? What? Ooh, I might have to dig into this a little bit, but it looks like Chad's been making some more interesting gun changes. Um, so yeah, so again, we can explore some of these. Uh, let's just explore it real quick. So let's go back to GitHub and let's go to the example mods and let's switch back to the master branch because that's where all the things are. And if I sync it, I should see Chad's PR. Yep, cool. There it is. So now if I copy this in, and I have the latest Delver and the latest stuff from the example mods, this should be sweet. Oh, he made a plasma rifle. Sweet. Yeah, no, I was kind of pushing Chad to let us have both projectile and hit scan based firearms, um, which is kind of greedy of me because like we have no real use case for it, but I think it allows us to make cool stuff and makes and for the most part it allows like you modders to make really interesting stuff too. So levels, shooting range, node. So this is my little shooting range. It's kind of a little test bed. So did Chad make a auto projectile gun wand and then add a gun ammo? Let's see what this is all about. So here's my gun wand and the ammo. Nice. Okay, so now I have to make use of this and actually make cool examples of that too. Because yeah, so what I've done here so far is let me again I have the current mod has 3 shotguns and 3 bullet-based weapons. So let me grab this machine gun here, and then let me grab uh, these, and I think we got. I really wish I had better sound effects for this, but sound design just isn't one of my like one of the things I know how to do. These aren't actual. These are just breakable bottles. These aren't really drinkable things. Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna have to make projectile-based weapons now. So if I take a peek, I could maybe I'll dig into it off stream, but yeah, there's all kinds of craziness. Um, Chris, these new guns went in like a day or two ago. So yeah, if you guys want to like, I think if you like either watch or star the repo, uh, you will get notifications when stuff goes in. And Javier is asking, I've just done it as you started the stream. It isn't there. So Javier, I'm not seeing. Let me duplicate. Actually, I think over here. Let me close my JSON formatter here. Like if I look at pull requests, there aren't any. By author. Yeah. Nope. I don't see it, Javier, so I'm not sure where in the ether it ended up. But yeah, those gun changes are really cool. And of course, I had to add the silly nuclear throne triple machine gun. So this thing will chew through bullets like nobody's business. So I have 144 shots, and I can just kind of just level everything, just burn through it. Because the triple machine gun, as you would expect, uses 3. Yeah, I'm already out. Uses 3 bullets per shot. And also, the guns are also hooked up to the loot drop system. So if you want to play Delver with this, you can just install this mod, and it will occasionally drop in guns and ammo for you. But yeah, so that is out there on the example mods. You will need an early build of update 14 for this stuff to work. That's kind of the caveat of the example mods right now, is they are requiring the latest version of Delver. Okay, let me think. So let's go back to this one. I think the gun mod's okay in a good state. I want to get this darn sci-fi dungeon thing in a better state. Get it committed to main, and then I can, or master, and then I can not worry about it so much. Like I don't want this to hold up the release, right? And there's no reason why it should. But I want to have it ready for the release. So I need to. Uh, yeah, there we go. So I just need to keep pushing on it. Let me see. Editor, run. File, open. Let me open up. Nope, that's stock Delver. I need to open up my mod generator. I think a hall is probably a good place to start. Let me just hit G to grab those textures. And let's think about, like typically you don't want like a big long hall that is just a straight shot from one to the other. It's not, like visually it isn't very interesting. And also too, like if there are enemies that can shoot you, you don't have any cover, and that's also not very interesting. It's kind of frustrating actually. So typically I'll try to block out Viz somehow. And generally, like the more routes you give the player, the more interesting things like feel. So I want some big Viz blocker, maybe some sort of like routes to go on the side. I don't know. I can just start just kind of freewheelingly, just get like here, like almost like a top-down perspective, and I can kind of maybe block out where like how I want the flow to go. So I could make it look like an omega symbol. I mean, again, it's not super original, but let's start there. Let's start here and go out. So that way I have the correct height. Okay, so Javier says, try again. I think I've done it now. So let me real quick, let me just go ahead and save this. So file, save as, let's call this 2.bin. Now we have 2 hallways, double the variety. Let's close this out and let's see if his pull request went through. Yeah, cool. This will be fun too. This will show another mod thing another mod capability that I'm very very happy with. So let's take a look. So again, let's go out to the repo, and if we look at pull requests, Javier just submitted a pull request, which is really cool. Let's take a look at this. There's a couple commits, 1 file changed. So for the translations, all you have to do is change the strings.dat. And maybe these are some string tweaks. But what's cool here is he is defining, like for this item condition broken, he defines like the feminine singular, the feminine plural, and these forms are something he's defined for, like for his usage within the language, you know. And then the things that are like a lot of these names typically are the names have the form property, which he specifies what the form is. So in this case, the spiked iron mace is a masculine singular. Real quick, just as a sanity check, let me just do a view, do a raw, copy everything. I think if you go to actually, if we go back to the example mods, and if you look at just the root, and you go to the English, it might be JSON validator. Oh, it's just a Google search. Oh, you're so clever, Joshua. Okay, so I've been using this JSON. This one, process. Cool. So it is valid JSON. So no issues with that. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's accept this pull request and get it in. So sorry, no, Joshua. PRs, translation with new forms, and let's merge it. Sweet. Confirm merge. So now I can go. Just really. Let me move this here. Let me flip over to just the master branch again, do a sync, and this should have Javier's merge pull request in. See you, Chris. Take care. So now if we look at the history, we see the merge, the pull request from Javier, which is cool. And now I can go over here and grab this language pack-es and paste it into my mods directory. And now when I launch Delver, it should be in Spanish, which is pretty rad. Yep. And what's even nice too is I should be able to let me play an existing saved game, and it should translate a good chunk of that stuff still too. Wait, up. No. Oh, sorry. So that save game had stuff that was defined in the sci-fi dungeon area, and that's why it bailed like that. So maybe that's something, Chad, we need to think about is if somebody defines like a mod or a custom dungeon section, and if the user unsubscribes from it, like that's not great having it crash. So we need to figure out a good strategy there. Cool. So again, if you look at all the things, they should be translated, which is pretty sweet. This is an interesting issue. So these guys actually, like this text here, is serialized out in the start map. So if we want to translate this, we'll have to actually create a new version of this, or an overloaded version of the start map. And I think this is true too. I think this stuff is hard coded and serialized into the start map. So maybe either Shad and I can figure out some alternatives for this, or I can work with Louis Carl and Javier to just have them redo the start map. As long as the start map doesn't change much, I think that should be fine. And again, some of this stuff is hard coded. And the thing is, we try to not have a lot of text, to be honest, in Delver. We try to keep it pretty text light. But even still, there are probably 300 to 400 words to be translated, so it's not trivial. I guess in the scheme of things, most translations have thousands, so it's not awful either. Cool. Yep. So a lot of it looks the same. I'm trying to find a cool item drop just to look at the new. Okay, map. That's a thing you do. Speed. Oh, poison mage. That must be a poison trap. Oh, mages. Plural. Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah. So this, I want to say, uh, I think this de fuerza is of strength. So I think this is the thing doing. This is where it's matching up the genders and uh, uh, of the nouns and the adjectives. And Chad says the storyteller's guide text should be in data messages campfire guide.dat. Okay, so that might be something we need to add to um, translation stuff. So it should just be as simple as just providing those strings. Interesting. Yeah, it looks like for the most part things are coming along pretty well for the translation work, which I'm really excited about. And if you are interested in getting a head start on translating Delver as a mod, just go ahead and drop me an email. You can get a hold of me at joshua.skeleton@gmail.com, and I'll be interested in helping you out with any challenges you might have. Okay, so yeah, this is looking good. Cool. And let me real quick while I'm thinking about it. Let's delete that. And I think Chad was saying data. So over here from Delver. So the Laboyle says the uniques don't translate. I can take a look into that as well. So assets, data, messages. Oh, so these also might be. Huh. So these should be. Let me. So data, new folder called messages, and then in here, put campfire guy. Copy here. Actually, I probably want the. I'll just copy all these in. We can take a look at them in here. Let's say. Don't say. And if we look at the language pack in US and then messages, these camp notes. I think this should be straight up just for if we translate these, they should just replace. Yep, that's my personal email. Just go ahead and fire me off an email if you're interested in translating. Also, you can feel free to go ahead and go to the community, the example mods, and just kind of look up how the English and how the English, Spanish, and French ones are being done to help you kind of get a start on it. Yep. No, thank you. I'm really glad that people are interested in translating this. So real quick, what we can do is what's called a pseudo location or pseudo translation. So what that really means is you just find you find some localized text and you just paste it in. So let's just do something like this, and then for all of this guy's his dialogue, I'm just going to paste in a cedilla, which is used in French and other languages. So that's the campfire guy.dat. So I should be able to go over here to mods, and then I can drop in the English, the US English language pack, and fire up Delver, and then all of his text should be have the cedilla in front of it. And if it doesn't, that means I have work to do. Okay, so that's the campfire guy. Talk. Yep, sweet. So that works. Okay. And then do the same. Let me go undo that. Save. And then for these camp notes, let me just do the same thing here. Cool. So these are the camp notes you kind of find laying around. They're kind of meant to either give you little story beats or to teach you stuff. So that one, huh? Oh, Joshua. You know what I did? I forgot to copy over the updated language pack. So let's copy that before I get all worried that it's broken. And now let's try it. Dead. Okay, now let's look at this note. Live. Sweet. Okay, that one is pulling correctly. Yep, I know. And Chad, I think we also just I love this little down arrow, but I think we also need just one little thing to let people know when it's done. I'm not sure what that would look like yet, but I think at the last down arrow should be something else to let you know like you're complete. And then cool, there's a Cydia on that one too. So that's good. Looks like the notes are translating fine. So I can undo all these changes to the notes. Control Z S, Control Z S, and Control Z S. Okay, so those all pull correctly. And yeah, so Michael's been pushing me to fix the UI because the UI definitely needs love, but it's one of the things that it gets the least love, unfortunately. It's either going to be this update or the next one. It's on our roadmap, but we just keep pushing it back. Okay. So what else was in there? So we're looking at, so in the messages, there's also this thing called Dungeon Notes. Oh, okay. This should be okay. Let me try just copying this over too, just to see if it actually does what I want. So in the English US, data, messages, and then over here, the Delaware stuff, and data, messages, dungeon notes, copy that here. And then in here, let's look at the dungeon notes and oh man. Okay, let me just go Control A, Control C. Let's go to Sublime Text, New, Control V. Let's select all opening braces. Let's go down to the next line. And then paste in that Cydia. Oh wait, wrong. Let's copy the Cydia again over here off Wikipedia. And here, paste it in. Save. Nope, Control A, Control C. It's also a good idea when doing like mass edits like that just to re-verify the JSON. And this is broken because it uses the old style of stuff. And also I screwed that up there, so I'll just do it manually real quick. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. And also, I think Chris was asking how would you do custom notes? I think if you just add, if you just create, I think you can, I don't know if this overwrites or if this extends. I guess that would be a good Chad question. because if it extends, it doesn't solve our loc problem, but if it overwrites, it's not solving our adding more stored bit problem. So yeah. I think real quick, in VS Code, I think I can just flip it over to JSON, and it should let me know if this stuff is messed up. Like that. And now this actually should be compliant JSON, so we can take a peek at that. Yep, sweet. So let's save it, and then let's assets, mods, example mods, English US, copy. And now so what we're doing is we're making the Delver engine support localization, but we really can't afford to like translate it, and we don't really know what languages to translate it to, which is why we're trying to give folks the tools to do it themselves as a mod. So if you want to make a translation, that would be awesome, and I will help you and support you as much as I possibly can. But these are all just going to be like a community-driven effort to translate the game. And if you want your localization to live in the community example mods, that's also cool. But it doesn't have to. I mean, your mod is to do with what you like. So did I copy that over? I'm talking. Yeah, there we go. Let me just do that again. Yeah, cool, Javier. Yeah, I'll put them out on the English version. So again, just to give folks a good base of what they need to translate, because that was my bad on missing stuff like that. And I appreciate all the folks who are taking the time to help me find these. How do I generate notes? I thought it was junk. Junk. No. We should be able to find a note pretty quick. I mean, we have them not not everywhere, but fairly frequent. Speed. Yeah. The enemies zip down pretty good coming down the ramps. Where's this? Ah! I need to get a better weapon. Magical pants. That'll work. Not identified, but that's okay. I'll roll the dice. And this is a hard thing too to teach new players is because the starting dagger is so weak, it takes many hits to knock down those doors. So a lot of them actually um, will bail on knocking them down. You, ooh, lucky dagger. So the lucky dagger is a unique item, and what's interesting about uniques is, well, one, you can only ever find one version of a unique on a given run. And two is when they are generated, they are based off of your character's level. So the stats will scale depending upon when you find it. And I think the thinking behind that is we want it to always be useful, independent of when you find it. So when you find it early, it won't be as powerful as if you found it later, but also it still is a good thing for where you're at, which is kind of a different take on it. That was kind of Chad's design, which I think is cool. Oh yeah, yeah, duh. Chad says, Joshua, be smart. So what you can do is, oh no, I can crash Java. Weird. Okay, what he's suggesting I do is just make a big old room. And if you right click and place a marker, you can add a decor marker. And those usually are bones or notes. So if you hit play, I get a skull, or bones, or note. And then open up that note, and it has a Cydia in it. Cool. So it looks like they do replace. Which is interesting for modders because you can't mod in notes. I think you just redefine them, but it's good for translators. Yeah, because he was suggesting do something like marker, decor, marker, decor. Decor. And then when you hit play, you just get a whole ton of junk, and no notes. That's something that's you have to love that about procedural generation is you're never really guaranteed. You're never guaranteed a thing. Or maybe if I add decor piles, those tend to be basically just a version of the decor that just drops more than one thing. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure which way is better. Like, it is nice that we can have translated versions of these, but it is kind of a bummer that I guess if you really wanted to mod in a note, you could do so by creating a note object, and you can make the texture the note texture, and you could type in either give it a message file or a note text. So this is my sweet note. So also you probably want to name it, right? So this name is Silly Note. Silly Note. And 5, and my sweet note. Oh yeah, I guess less than is still heart. So I probably need to address that too. I think I want to add just straight up just like maybe a Unicode support for the heart character, so we can have that in there rather than kind of overriding what the less than does. But that's a future Joshua problem. So yeah, so if you wanted to define these, and you can right click to JSON. Yep. So you could copy this, and then what you could do is in your items, you could add an items.dat file, and underneath the decorations under this decorations or the yeah, you should just be able to extend decorations with your notes, and it will create them. It might create duplicates, but hopefully this is at least a workaround for folks who want to have like custom story bits in their mods. They can certainly do it that way. Okay, so that was confirming that if in fact we in the language pack add these and the dungeon notes that they are translatable, which is cool. So I think I like the way it works now. So let's look at our GitHub repo. Let's look at the changes for the example mods. These just add um, so let me undo this. Just save it because I don't want the CDs. But I do want these. I do want it to be standardized JSON. I'm trying to really make sure that the repo is good about that. Okay. Cool. So, and I think also it's complaining that there's no new lines. So let's just add new lines. I don't even know how big of an issue that is, but like there is some little computer science grognard in me that's like, yeah, you should probably have new lines at the end. Okay, let's take a look at our changes. So make sure they're all selected. Camp note 1. Oh, Joshua, I gotta fix the JSON on this too. So, yep. Here we go. Okay, that's fixed. This is why we review our code before we commit it to source control. Also, I think if I just flip on JSON down here, it should let me know if I've goofed. Interesting. So it looks like we handle new lines okay, but let me just confirm that though. And it's always good to test your changes too before you check them or you commit them too, because that's if you don't, it's a surefire way to make sure you've messed something up. So again, let's just take a look at let's go out to assets, mods. Let's delete that and then just put the updated version of our language pack out here. And then I was really worried about these notes on battle, which are found on the table in the start area. Notes on battle. So it looks okay. It looks like it doesn't barf, so that's fine. That'll probably be okay for the time being. So let's go ahead and just begin. Let's look at our code changes. Looks okay. Looks okay. Okay. I'm just looking at the properties on these JSON objects to make sure that they are just string escaped. The quiet guy is not. It's a new line. There we go. Sweet. So we make sure these are all checked, and then adding commit and sync. So cool. So now out on the example repo, if we take a peek, what is a pull request out there? Let me see what that's all about. Oh wait, that's an old. Oh, sorry, I duplicated an old tab. Never mind. So on the ENUS, I've updated the data. So now we have not only strings.dat, but these messages, and these you can translate to, and these will make the campfire notes and the campfire guy and the guitar player. That will translate their dialogues. It still leaves the shopkeepers as kind of an unsolved thing, but that's okay for the time being. I think this is a good chunk of stuff. So cool. I guess back to some more sci-fi stuff, which should be all right. So let's delete that since we already checked in our changes. Let's just move that back in there. And I think we were starting and working on a new hallway for the sci-fi area, if I recall correctly. So mods, example halls 2.bin load. Cool. So again, this is it's not super interesting because when you hit play, like you can see all the way across. So trying to think of why, like a good reason to block off this visibility here. And something actually that's really cool that, for example, like Gun Gods does, is they have geometry that blocks players, but not actual projectiles. I'm not sure if that's anything we can do. So if I place a basic, I think I can place areas. What do I call them? Areas and collision volume. Yes, you can block collision. Does it block? Yeah, it also blocks projectiles. Collides with actors only? I'm an actor. Is this an actor? That is also an actor. Okay. That's all right. It was just a hunch. Non-actors. Am I a non-actor? I am not a non-actor. Is this a non-actor? That is a non-actor. Interesting. So that blocks shots, but it doesn't block the player. And then static only. What does blocking static only do? So it doesn't block the player, but it does block shots. Huh. Okay. Yep, not going to do what I was thinking it would do, but that's okay. Just a thought. So I can how to break up the viz. I mean, the simplest way is just to make it solid, right? So now you have to go either way. That's just a lot of area to try to make look interesting, you know? Yeah, so I'm not sure what the intent on that is, Chad. I'll let you figure that one out. Okay. So so this is kind of the flow, but maybe if I made it into, I can make it into separate rooms. Like if I'm planning on a 3x2 door, I could put doors up here too to kind of block off these areas and make them feel like separate things. Also, if they weren't so symmetric. Oh yeah, so Javier's suggesting doing something like you can see through, but like, for example, you could again carve this. I've done this in other places too. You can still shoot through it, so it doesn't really block. It doesn't block projectiles, but it does block movement. So you're saying something like that, where you can still see through it, kinda, which is all right. That is interesting. What if I did something like that this entity light ambient out red and then make the range huge. 9. No. 7. Might be too big too. 5. Just trying to think of something interesting to kind of do to kind of make it. And then I guess I can still block viz. Like I can do something like the computer, like this computer cabling stuff I've been throwing everywhere pretty liberally. So G, and then say the upper wall is that. And then just fill that back in. Maybe do the same thing here. So maybe that way they can still kind of feel connected without actually being so much connected. I don't know. Just exploring some thoughts. That might be. I think the range of that might be way too big. Let me take that down to like 2.5. So I really almost want it to only really kind of light up just the interior here. So maybe even dialing it back further. Let me delete these for the time being and just try 1.5. That's all right. And if I just kind of dupe these, what does that look like? That looks cool. Can you actually shoot through it? Maybe. Cool. Then maybe that can indicate that maybe that could hint towards something on this side. So maybe if I put a door here, then I can open this up a touch. And maybe put some more of that. Like I'm kind of playing around with this idea of like all this computer tech stuff like infesting this sci-fi area. So that's kind of what I've been going off of. So let's do that. Okay. That. I guess I want to make the ceiling also that cabling texture. Here we go. And again, I kind of I don't have a lot of like vertical variety either. So that's maybe something I can play with. Like maybe this stuff kind of is recessed a bit, maybe. Let me grab that, turn off paint adjacent. I can fix those, cool. Okay. There we go. And probably make the floor of that as well and just go crazy. Or these actually it's probably going to be similar to how I do the caves actually, where I'm kind of pulling these and kind of implying forms that actually let me just I think I can do the ceiling smarter. which is if you can do something smarter and still get the same result, then I'm all for that. So I can make a selection here. I can pull the ceiling down. And pull this edge up a bit. Then make this selection here. Then maybe pull this edge down to match. And then do something similar on this side. Where I can just pull this down. And then I can grab this middle one and just pull it down all in one go. Nope, not the edge. Pull down this centerpiece. Maybe I can emphasize like this angle a little bit more. I don't know, just playing around. I could do here, just grab the back edge of these guys and move them up. It's super dark. I wonder if it'd be interesting if I just continue this through. So we could see some of that redness. So let's just chop that out. Maybe chop that out. And just fix my textures and grab those textures and paint them. Maybe turn on paint adjacent in this case because I don't want that default stone showing through. Maybe also get those right there. So we hit play. Yeah, that's cool. We got the red coming through there, which is nice. Ominous. And then maybe just adding some irregularity, maybe. I'm also beginning to wonder maybe I should add some sprites that kind of like have like dangling wires from when these are ceiling tiles. That might be cool. That might be a cheap thing to do. It's still really wide open. Let me go ahead and save it. Let me just pursue this little thought of having the like how we have like dangling moss. Maybe I can do so file open mods intersection advanced textures example. I do have a so these are the Greeble stuff. I do have a sprites that I'm not really getting much use out of, so maybe it would be cool to have like dangling wires that I can kind of throw in there. So turn on my grid so I can see what I'm doing. Chop that out, and maybe window, workspace, range, new window, then pop this new window out. There we go. I want to have it kind of be similar in style to these. So just going to be kind of a swoopy cable. make sure I give myself enough room to actually do some shading on it. These are kind of thick. All right, let's see. Something like this. I'm just going to pick out. Okay. All right, let's go real quick and just kind of break up some of the selective outlining a little bit. I think it sometimes helps it read a little bit better. And let's add that highlight. So it's probably going to be underneath, maybe? This might not be thick enough. We'll see. I can do something like that, I suppose. And again, always kind of, I'm trying to be conscious of banding issues. Then maybe I'll add these little stripy details where appropriate, I suppose. So dark, like that. And add this. Actually, maybe I can make this like a little coupling thing. Yeah, that might be too much. Let's try something like that. I could try one at an angle, just harder to get the selective outlining looking correct. I'll try it. Yeah, it's okay. Let me save it real quick and see what it actually looks like in use before I knock it too hard. Save. And then if I were to launch let's take a look at real quick, which one, where does this live? Is this in my repo or is this in my working directory? So that's in my working directory, so that should be okay. File open, mods, example, levels, test, load. And then I'm proposing something like place entity, basic, and it might be a sprite, or it might be a entity basic sprite decal. I'm not sure which. So let me go ahead and just flip over the texture to example sprites, and I want this little hangy thing. And same thing with this one. Texture, example sprites, and the hangy thing. Okay, so let me put them kind of the same level so you can see what's different about them. Is when I hit play, the sprite aligns to my view, but the decal does not. And I'm kind of trying to figure out what behavior I think would be most interesting for that. So if I were to slam these up into the ceiling, and I might have to actually do something like that. And then again up here. And this one maybe kind of pull in here. Okay, is this, yeah, it's, there we go. And then I can just rotate this on the Z a little bit. I could do something like that. And make another copy and rotate it the other direction. And kind of have them maybe intersect a little. Let me hit play and see what looks interesting. Yeah, maybe they should be static. Or maybe they should. See, just the one that spins, it's so hard to like, you can't really see it. I mean, they're both very hard to see. Let me try moving them down and put them over over here. Again, maybe, I don't know if it's placement or if it's just the design of these things isn't great. So we'll try to figure out what's up with them. So I don't want them to stand out like sore thumbs, but I want them to add just maybe a little bit more like depth or volume to these textures. So again, it's right. It's just so hard to see. Might really have to go deep down with how much I might try to make them a little bit more regular and maybe make them more. Yeah, let me actually try that. So let's try, because the pipes here are pretty not quite perfectly rectilinear, but they are pretty darn close. So what if I just pitch that, and then if I just start lifting directly? So let's say Control C, Control V, sure, V, and then like that, Control V, Control T. This is just really quick and dirty, just trying to get stuff in and see how it actually looks. Let's merge those down. Let me just kind of figure out, do some problem solving, and see if I can make it look okay. So maybe give this little thing some room to breathe. And similarly on this side. trying to work fast and not be such a perfectionist, neat, you know, like I really stress over some of the stuff that I probably ought not to, you know. So let me merge that down, let me save it, and let me see what it looks like in Engine. Again, it's still the open question of Sprite versus Sprite decal, and I'm not sure which way I feel. Okay. All right, let's make sure just gonna slam it up there and slam this one on the other side. And maybe the rotation on the, oh, there isn't a rotation on the Sprite decal, even though I most certainly can. I could snap it. There we go. Play. That'll be kind of give him a little wiggle room. Pull it out there. There we go. Play. Yeah, I don't know if I should. This might be too big of a detail now for it to actually be like rotating like that. I don't know. Just what if I pushed it further into the ceiling? Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel. That looks weird because it obviously should have more thickness than that. Maybe that one's okay. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. So let me tweak the texture a little bit. I'm gonna throw this on one of the Gen Infos. Let's see if that works. So texture. I want to do this. I think it's just a little thick on the bins, so do that, do that, do this, just erase, and erase, and then this. Okay, that's a little bit better. Save. Yeah, I think the rotating one is probably better, to be honest. Like the fact that it, yeah, the decal feels way too planar, and maybe for certain things that'd probably be all right. But this, the way I've shaded it, it makes it feel like it should have more volume to it. Cool. So we need to put this in our. Actually, real quick before I mess things up, let me go example mods. Let's flip back over to the dungeon section stuff we're working on. Let me go here to textures, and then same thing, textures, and then let's just copy over this new sprite sheet so I don't accidentally copy over it the wrong direction. Okay, cool. So now, so in here we should have a gen info generator info. Yeah, so these gen infos. So this is a list of gen info objects, and these gen info objects get placed on top of different textures. So for example, like this is a gen info for the ceiling light, and it generates, it creates this light entity on any ceiling texture that has texture index 11. So what I want to do is I'm probably just going to copy something similar to what Delver does for the like the moss or the roots, because we have a clustering little thing too. So let's look at okay, dungeon info. If I look for say moss, so we have this. I basically let me just go ahead and just lift this from Delver. So copy this. And so the first thing I need to do is I need to clean up the JSON. Actually, somebody tweeted me, I feel a while back, that they created something to help fix yeah, so this Christopher fellow created something to hopefully clean up sloppy JSON. So let me see. If I paste my JSON in and I hit process, ooh, ooh, very cool. And then I can, so let me run that through the JSON validator. Process. Yep, spits out good JSON. Let me just copy that to clipboard. Oh man, that's super handy. Thank you, Christopher. I'll paste this into chat too. But yeah, so I copy this. Now let's go over here to our gen infos. And I want to add a new one. So comma and then paste. Then let's just tab that, get rid of the trailing comma, delete that. And what we want to do is say, this is not hanging moss, this is hanging pipes. Chance. Right now, let's just crank up the chance to 1. So there's a 100% chance that this will pop up on on every single tile, which is cool. So yeah, so for here's a link. Let me actually follow that link, and then yeah. So this is this kind person created this little utility to clean up sloppy JSON, and it spits it out nicely, and that worked perfectly. And if you are having trouble with it too, it might be something you take a look at. But hanging pipes, what I want is texture atlas should be example. So there we go. And then the ceiling texture should be this main texture here. So let me try to count. 0, 4, 8 is the texture I want. So texture 8 on the example, and it spawns a foliage item that's on the ceiling. I don't know if I want foliage, because foliage, so the difference between sprite and foliage is foliage actually has a slight wave to it, but that might be okay for the pipes. I don't know. And then what I want is, again, this needs to be foliage. I think they have just a sprite atlas. Let me look at if I look at my entities, and I look at my lights, sprite atlas. That's what I'm pretty sure that's what it wants. Pretty sure. And then it should be text. I think it is texture too, actually. So if I go back to sprites, it's 0, 1, 2. Sweet. So so let's turn that down to 2. Oh, 4 is fine. It'll give us tons of them. So what this ought to do is it ought to spawn a whole ton of these on this, like 4 of them on every single ceiling tile with the texture 8. So I think this should be cool. Let me just copy this over. Copy. Oh. And then let's just run it. I think we're just about out of time because I've been streaming for almost 3 hours now, which is a while. Erase. Plate. again, that's another drawback is because like the editor doesn't allow you to pick which gen info you're running. You just have to load it up in game. Yeah, so check that out. These guys just get slapped down. So the ceiling has a chance of being either 8 or 9, or 8 or 12. So that's why it's not everywhere, but it's kind of cool. I mean, I might want to tweak it a little, but I like what it's doing, and it's gently rotating. It's interesting. I might be able to do some like a Y offset to shove it up into the ceiling there. Pretty sure. I bet you I can. I'm not sure if I want them to sway like that in the breeze. Um, but I'm starting to get it's kind of cool. I mean, again, it's more visual variety that we're letting the engine kind of do the heavy lifting for us, and that's kind of what the Delver engine is good at, is kind of defining these sets of rules and letting it create stuff. I think Heimbond is saying it'd be really cool to try and recreate System Shock 1 in Delver. You could certainly, um, you could probably do a pretty decent job of it. I think the way they do levels and the way we do levels is probably pretty darn close. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap things up. Let me just take a look real quick. Yeah, so it's actually been a very productive stream. I got a couple of PRs merged in. We got to look at the crazy the gun mod. We got to look at Javier's Spanish language mod, which is pretty sweet. Got some new changes pushed out to the English language mod for so folks can know what to localize as far as like the some of the story bits go. Um, did a little bit more work on the sci-fi stuff, so I think it's been a pretty productive afternoon. I want to thank everybody who has purchased Delver. That directly supports Chad and I, and it really means a lot to us. We work on this in our free time as we have time, and it is really a labor of love at this point in time. We're trying to get it wrapped up. We're trying to make it good. So thank you for your financial support. Thank you for watching my stream. I appreciate that. Um, it really motivates me. I always look forward to my streams. It's an interesting way to work. I think I've learned how to kind of fold it into my process. But today's Wednesday, and I will be back Sunday. So have a good few next days, folks, and I'll see you on Sunday at noon. Bye bye.